We're starting with a perfect 10 today, and not the good kind. An unauthenticated SQL injection flaw that's about as critical as it gets.
I'm Morgan, that's Alex. Let's break it down.
So first on the list is CVE 2025-52694. It's a SQL injection vulnerability with a CVSS score of 10.0. That is the maximum severity possible.
A 10 out of 10? You don't see those every day. Usually there's some requirement, like the attacker needing to be on the local network or having a low-level account. But this is unauthenticated and remote?
Exactly. If the service is exposed to the internet, an attacker can execute arbitrary SQL commands. They don't need a password, they don't need a session token, they just need to reach the service.
SQL injection feels like such a classic vulnerability, but it's still incredibly effective. If they can run commands, they can basically dump the entire database, modify records, or in some cases, pivot to the underlying server. It's an open door.
It really is. And speaking of remote access, we've got a pair of serious issues in the automation space involving Automi. They've got two critical flaws hitting their Director and Bot Manager products.
Wait, Automate, they do robotic process automation, right? RPA? Companies use them to automate repetitive tasks using bots that act like users.
That's the one. And because these tools manage bots that often have high-level access to other corporate systems, they are a massive target. The first one is CVE 2025-46066, which is a privilege escalation flaw in Automi Director version 25.2.0.
So a regular user could potentially become an admin within the Director console. That's bad enough, but what's the second one? You mentioned Bot Manager.
The second one is even worse. CVE 2025-46070. It's a remote code execution flaw in Automi Bot Manager version 25.2.0. It specifically targets the botmanager.exe component and carries a 9.8 CVSS score.
Remote code execution on a bot manager, think about the blast radius there. If you're using these bots to handle sensitive data or move files between departments, an attacker could hijack that entire pipeline. It's like taking over the foreman at a factory.
That's a great way to put it. Automation is a force multiplier for productivity, but if the management layer is vulnerable, it's a force multiplier for the attacker too.
It's definitely a reminder that we need to vet our automation tools just as strictly as our firewalls. Beyond the patches, what else caught your attention today?
Russia's APT-28 is back in the news. Security Week is reporting that they're currently targeting energy research and defense collaboration entities.
APT-28, that's the group often called Fancy Bear, right? They've been around forever. What's their angle this time?
They're sticking to what works: credential harvesting. They've been seen impersonating popular webmail and VPN services. We're talking fake Microsoft ODOA portals, Google login pages, and Sophos VPN portals.
It's the classic play. If you can't break the encryption, just trick the person holding the keys. And targeting energy research, that's pure industrial espionage.
Right, and it's not just happening in the digital realm. There's a story out of Sweden today where prosecutors have detained a 33-year-old former IT consultant for the Swedish Armed Forces.
Wait, an insider? That's always the nightmare scenario for military intelligence.
Exactly. He's suspected of spying for Russian intelligence. It's a stark reminder that while we spend all this time talking about remote code execution and SQL injection, the human element, the insider threat, is still very much a part of the game.
It really connects the dots, doesn't it? You have APT-28 hitting the digital front door, and then you have potential human assets on the inside. It's a multi-pronged approach.
Speaking of doors, let's talk about the supply chain. There's a really clever attack hitting the N8N workflow automation platform.
N8N, I've used that. It's like a self-hosted version of Zapier. You use nodes to connect different apps. What happened?
Threat actors uploaded 8 malicious packages to the NPM registry. They masqueraded as community-built integrations for N8N. One of them had a really long gibberish name, something like N8N nodes HFGJF I2INV LASDQ RIT.
That doesn't sound very legitimate. Who would download that?
You'd be surprised. It was designed to look like a Google Ads integration. When a developer adds it to their N8N instance, it prompts them to link their advertising account. But instead of linking it, it just steals their OAuth credentials.
That's the danger of the community model. We trust these repositories, but if you're not auditing the code of every node you add, you're essentially handing over the keys to your integrations. It's a supply chain attack in miniature.
Exactly. And it's not just third-party nodes. Even within your own sanctioned cloud environments, things can get messy. Bleeping Computer had a good piece today on Microsoft 365 access reviews.
Right, because file sharing in M365 is so easy that people just forget who they've shared things with. 6 months later, a former contractor still has access to a sensitive SharePoint folder.
That's the convenience versus security trade-off. The advice is to use the built-in access reviews to regain visibility. It's boring work, but it prevents the kind of slow-motion data leaks that happen when permissions just accumulate over time.
Before we wrap up, a couple of quick hits from the big tech world. Apple has officially confirmed that Google Gemini will be powering the next version of Siri.
That's a massive shift. Apple has always been so protective of their ecosystem. Bringing in Google Cloud and Gemini for Siri is a huge admission that they need outside help for AI.
They're saying privacy remains a priority, but you have to wonder how that data sharing agreement is structured. And on the flip side, Microsoft is actually retiring an app. The Lens Scanner app for iOS and Android is being pulled from stores next month.
I actually used that one. It's being folded into the main Microsoft 365 app. It's just part of their ongoing consolidation.
All right, so the big takeaway for today. If you're using AutoMy, check your versions. You need to be on at least 25.2.0 to avoid those privilege escalation and code execution issues.
And keep a very close eye on that SQL injection flaw, CVE 2025-52694. If you have any internet-facing services that might be vulnerable, prioritize that patch immediately. A CVSS 10.0 is as urgent as it gets.
Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched, stay paranoid.